Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So I'm going to wait a couple of minutes and we're going to get started. I'm going to do a series of videos tonight, very short live streams. There's a wide range of subjects that I want to talk about tonight, as usual. And I hope that you all can rock with me tonight. If not, you can check it out on a playback. But there are a couple of things I want to talk about. And I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes and then we can get right into it. So just bear with me 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some developments in the Jacob Blake case. And, this whole situation, as I said last night, is just completely outrageous. You had this brother in Kenosha, Wisconsin. The police were following him around his car. The police had their guns drawn. This brother was unarmed. He didn't pose any threat at all to these police. The brother proceeded to go into his car. He opened the door and he was on the driver's side of his car. He was going into his car. One of the officers proceeded to grab this brother and then shoot him at point blank range. He was hit at least 7 times. Now, fortunately, the brother is alive. He was in ICU. And according to his attorneys, this brother sustained substantial injuries. Now, today, his attorney, Ben Crump, and other attorneys from the team held a press conference today. They had members of the family speaking out. And during this press conference, they described the extent of this brother's injuries. This brother is paralyzed from the waist down. One of the bullets shattered his backbone, his spine. Also, he had holes in his stomach as a result of this police shooting. The police, severely damaged his brother. As a result of the injuries that he sustained, doctors had to remove his colon and small intestines. Also, he sustained damage to his kidneys and liver, and he was shot in the arm. Now, his attorneys plan to bring a civil lawsuit, and rightfully so, to gain some kind of justice for him and his family. Also, there have been protests in that city. There have been rebellions in that city. And, I completely understand why people are rebelling. And it seems that some people are more concerned with the property that's being damaged than they are concerned with this black life that was shattered to pieces. Now you got this brother. And one thing that I want to point out before I go any further, when this brother was shot in his car, as I told you all before, his children witnessed this. His children were actually in the car when he was shot. Now, this brother's life has been irreparably damaged. This brother, more likely than not, will never be able to walk again. That means his chances of earning a living are going to be substantially reduced. It's going to be difficult for this brother to get around, to be able to earn a living for his family and all that kind of stuff. His family has sustained great damage. And, hopefully the attorneys will be able to recover funds for the family so that they can provide for themselves. Because here you have a father that's supposed to be a breadwinner in a household, disabled because of what these police did. His life completely turned upside down. And, so I just wanted to bring this development to you. I mean, this is just so outrageous and it's just a grave injustice. And as far as I know, no charges have been filed against the officer yet. They've been placed on administrative leave and there's an investigation going on. I will continue to follow this story as there are developments. I will come back here and discuss those developments. Now, one of the things that I wanted to address is some of the things that the mother said, during this press conference. And, no disrespect, but there were certain things that she said during this press conference that, I take issue with. And, often you had a situation where a lot of times, you had these family members that are really religious and they are really forgiving and stuff like that. And they want to just talk about how we all need to get along. We're all human beings and all this kind of stuff. And during this particular press conference, his mother basically expressed those kind of views. And I can understand where she's coming from. I understand like why she would want to have that kind of attitude and approach and everything. But she went as far as to say that she's going to pray, um, not only for, victims and all that kind of stuff, but she's actually praying for the police and their family. She talked about the need to pray for healing in this country, talked about how a house divided against itself can't stand. And then she also talked about how we're all human beings, and she said that her statements weren't just directed towards Caucasians, they were directed towards everybody. And she was basically saying that God made us different, just like God made different, different types of trees and different types of different things. So we were meant to be as we are, and the only supreme being is God and stuff like that. And I understand where she was coming from. And she also talked about how Jacob would not be pleased with what's going on right now in Kenosha. Like you have people actually engaging in rebellion, people taking to the streets. You have cars that have been set on fire and things like that. And she said, that this damage to property doesn't reflect Jacob or the family and all that kind of stuff. And I understand why somebody would say that for, political reasons. Like they would say, well, I don't condone this violence and stuff like that. That's something that's calculated to win sympathy from people. So, I mean, and it may just be genuinely how they feel and stuff like that. But those types of statements are designed to win sympathy, for potential jurors so that they could see this is a responsible family and all that kind of stuff. But here you have a situation where a brother is paralyzed from the waist down, like more likely than not for the rest of his life. His life has been ripped apart. This brother did nothing wrong. He was actually trying to break up a fight, as I said before, as I said yesterday. And he ends up getting shot in the back 7 times. I can understand why people are outraged. I can understand why people are taking to the streets. If one of my loved ones was paralyzed from the waist down because of what some stinking pig cops did, shooting this brother without any kind of justification, the last thing that I would be concerned about is people taking action, taking action and rebellion in the streets. The last thing I would be doing is complaining about them taking that action. At the very least, I would remain silent. But if they did put a microphone in my face talking about, why don't you tell the protesters something? What's your message to the protesters? I would tell them to turn it up. I would tell them to turn things out. I would be outraged about my loved one being severely disabled because of the injustice that these cops did. It's like these people, again, are more concerned with property than they are concerned with Black lives. Here we are, all these decades of police brutality that our people have faced, all this time where Black people have been killed by these police without any kind of justice being rendered, without any charges at all. And in a few cases, when there are charges, these police walk. They get away with murdering our people. They get away with brutalizing our people. And when we see a system that's not serving us any kind of justice, then the people lose complete faith in that system and they lash out against that system. And that's what you see in cities around the country. That's why you have people engaging in these acts of rebellion around the country. If you want to see less so-called riots or rebellions, you need to have a more just society. We need to end police brutality. And it's time for us to take action. There will be no healing without justice. There will be no peace without justice. So, again, I understand where the family is coming from, but if one of my loved ones suffer like this, the last thing I would be doing is telling people to calm down and to chill out and all that kind of stuff. And too often that's what happens. Often these families get paid off. They get, they sell out and stuff like that. And they tell the people to quiet down and to chill out and all that kind of stuff. I get why they do that, but we have to understand that this issue of police brutality is bigger than the individual family that's impacted. It's bigger than them. And they don't have the right to dictate to the people how they are to engage in their acts of resistance against this system. So those are my things. And again, I just think that action has to be taken. And I'm glad that people are taking action. And I'm not necessarily saying that this is the best way to take action, but I understand why they do what they do. I understand, in the words of Martin Luther King, the riot is the voice of the unheard. I mean, for far too long, our people have been unheard. And you also have allies that see what's going on, and they see this blatant injustice. They see this blatant inequality that exists. And fortunately, they have embarked on this path towards revolutionary change in this society. So, that's what I have to say about that. It's like the last thing we need to do is be praying for the police and their family when they're the ones brutalizing and killing and harassing our people. We need to be praying for the families of all these victims of police brutality. That's what we need to be praying for. So I just wanted to share this development with you all. Please rate, comment, subscribe, like the video, share the video. Hit that notification bell so that you'll know when I post new content on here. A lot of times people aren't even aware of these live streams and things like that. But hit that notification bell so that you'll know as soon as I post new content on here. And, I want to encourage everybody to like this video. Everybody, if you're feeling your man, hit that like button, so that we can spread the word about this channel. And I encourage you to urge your friends to subscribe to this channel. So I'll be back. I'm going to do at least 2 more videos tonight, real short live streams. And I want to thank you all for your support. Peace and blessings, everyone. Good night.